Hello guys, this is the first showcase video about car generator. In this series of videos I will showcase you how I add this MX-5 into the game, explain my workflow too and more. Okay, to start I create a stuff folder. We also create an empty game object and we add a car generator component to it. This component is the responsible of the configuration of the car. You can here set name, pricing, custom meshes, transparency, spawns, and more settings that we currently don't need to touch. To make this work, we will set the name, pricing, and we also need to set the car base. The way that car generator works is basically copies a car from the game and you manipulate it as you want. On our case, we'll use a lad as the car base. Now, we simply drag and drop the car to the folder. After that, we also need an empty car game object. This one will be simply a empty prefab. It prompted me if it was the same prefab or a new one. As you can see, it ended up being a new one, which is expected. And last thing, we also need a transparency game option. For now, we will not use it, but it's needed anyways. Now, we create a new asset bundle. Try to make the names of your bundles unique too, to not have conflicts later with other mods. We now build the bundle and wait a bit. The bundle will appear here. I have here an empty project, basic setup only. Now I will create a resource file and add the bundle. Here there was a leftover file, but the correct one on my case was the one at the right. Press Show on Explorer here, we copy the path and we can paste it on the Visual Studio dialog. Select it and we are good to go. To start coding, we need to register the mod to ModUtils, pretty much standard. And we also need to enable debug, as it's very useful while developing a car. We now also create a car. We need to import the car generator namespace as shown here. Also, we need to load our bundle, so we load the bundle or load it at the end. And now we can proceed to load our car. We use this mod load car. The first name has to be the prefab that contains the car generator component. The second one, the empty one, and the last one is the transparency game option one. You can see here that it shows you which one is which while you are auto-completing. With this, our mod should load. Let's give it a try. It's important to have Unity Explorer. I also recommend having car spawner and no clip mods. And okay, we now should see a fully working LAD when spawning our car. Okay, it's not a LAD. You can see here that the model name is XM5, which is the one that we selected before. The car works perfectly fine. Okay, maybe that machine is not working yet, but we can fix it that later. Good. Now we will need to start adding our parts to the car. We will add both floors, firewall and the tunnel. We also need the cylinder block to use it as reference. I closed the game before, but we need some coordinates, so some magic later and here we are again. We need to get the coordinates of the engine of the car. This is so other part appear based on the position of the engine. We spawn the car base we use and we open it on Unity Explorer. Here we will use the engine that is inside the engine tranny game object. So in Unity I will create a game object called car for coordinates where I can create an engine tranny and copy the position and rotation of the game one into ours. Then we copy the cylinder block transparent, so we repeat the process with it. It's important to copy the position and rotation on both. Scale should not matter as is one always. Now we can copy our parts that we will add, so firewall, floors and tunnel. We also copy the cylinder block. In my case I have two engines, but one is incorrect. I choose the one with the gearbox. We copy them, we move the parts that we add into the cylinder block and then move the cylinder block to be a child of the cylinder block transparent inside the engine tranny game object we just created. We set the position of it to 000 so it's on the correct position. And now we will create the parts. We'll make them as simple as possible for now. I will create first a double-sided material, so it's easy to work on. As you can see, the model still has lots of pending work. To create all the parts, I will start by adding mesh collider to all of them, set it convex and also add part info. I tick body panel so they appear in catalog, and I also add a prefix onto the name prefab of all the parts, and then manually complete all of them. Next, I choose all again and add car properties. Here I mark them as single part and I add a prefix to onto the prefab name. Then I fill them manually. I move the object here to the root of the car for coordinates and also rename the objects to make it simpler to read. The car for coordinates now contains the coordinates of the parts in-game. Create a new prefab folder now, where I also add a body folder, and here I drag and drop the prefabs I should create. I now add them to the bundle and they are ready to be added to the game. I will now make them spawn with the car too. The first step is making so the lab stuff does not appear in the car. On the car generator component, we tick Remove Original Transparents. This deletes LAD stuff from the car. And we also need to tick Disable Modules Template Setup, which simply disables the fixes done on the LAD to make it work. What we'll do now is to put the car for coordinates in 000. Copy the parts that we want to move to the car and then go to the transparency object. Here we also set it to 000. Now we can paste our parts in the object. This will make them appear in the correct place. Now we unpack our prefabs, delete all the components except the mesh filter and add a transparency component. I will set the mesh filter as a cube for now. This is simply to not have multiple versions of the same mesh around if I update them later on. I will create some dependents now. As you know, a transparent allows attaching if the part name you try to attach is the same as the part you currently have. The dependents basically make so the part can be attached only if one or more of the parts you are set are currently attached. Currently, we have not done anything related to welds or attaching. It's not needed for testing. We'll build the bundle now and drag and drop to the project. I now simply load the parts using this mode load. Okay, let's give it a try. And it's looking good. I mean, looks flat for now, but the stuff is loaded. We have some work pending on the model as you can see, and we have to make the suspension work. You can see that the model fitting is not perfect compared to the model in Blender. This is because the suspension moves the engine stuff based on the suspension position, and it's not a perfect match with the model in Blender. We can ignore the dry shaft clip here as the wheel rear suspension is missing for now. Overall, pretty good. We can now continue adding other parts for now. I will add the inner front panels, the rear floor and the rear wheel wells. We need to use something for reference too, but we can use the firewall that we just added. We copy everything, then move everything to the firewall. We then move our copy firewall to the firewall on the car for coordinates object and move it to 000. The stuff will fit perfectly. Okay, we can see that the inner front panel right is not the correct one, it's an old version. Let me copy the correct one. And here we go. Move the correct one as I did before. I will hide the MX-5 for now, so it's easier to see what is being worked on. I will also add the double-sided material to everything. I am not going to be adding the rear right wheel well as it seems to be having some issues for now. As I said, the model still needs some work. We will add these parts. I will start by renaming the parts as before. Now I add a mesh collider to everything and also part info. Now we also add car properties just like before. Let's continue adding all the names to turn in prefabs and prefab names. An important thing to note is that the name of your transparency objects inside the car transparency object has to match the part info name prefab. If you make it based on prefab name, you will see that it appears in game like now, but then if you remove the part, you won't be able to retouch it. You can see here that the parts spawn in game, but the names are not the same as the part info rename prefab, so if I remove, for example, the tunnel, I will not be able to retouch it. I will go ahead and fix it now. Now I will drag and drop all the parts to the body prefab folder and then add all of them to the bundle by pressing Ctrl A and selecting the bundle. Last thing, we need to create the transparents, so I copy all the parts that I'm going to add. Then go to the car transparency object and paste. We will set the correct names, then unpack our parts and delete the components just like before. I will not add any setup for now, so let's just build the bundle. Now I just update the bundle and add the parts to the mod. Let's now check in-game. Let's spawn the car now. Here it is, looking good overall. We can see that the suspension fit is not perfect yet, so we will be working on that in the next video. We have our car spawning with a working base, lots of stuff to work on, but overall it's looking good. We will need to fit a custom suspension probably, as on that this is a lot bigger than on our car, but maybe we can fix it using bones only. But that's pretty much for today. Thanks for watching.